Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today we are going to do personal helicon. As you can see, the title of the poem tells you it's personal helicon. Helicon is a word which I think you are quite familiar with by now. It has been used by Milton in Paradise Lost. Helicon is an allusion to Greek mythology where Helicon was a mountain in which the muses resided. The poets and the artists, they used to take their inspiration from these muses. So here the title of the poem, as is used by the poet, it tells you that Shimasine here is alluding to Helicon, and he in fact he wants to say that his Helicon is his own personal experiences. And for that, I would like you to take down a quotation by Michael Parker in relation to the title of the poem. Personal Helicon is a poem also stirred by the heart of the mystery and glances back at earlier experiences and poems of childhood, yet forward to a future of poetic maturity. At its core is the potent symbol of the well, in which his pagan and Catholic past and present selves are reconciled. So, as Michael Parker has very beautifully summed, that the poem is basically the poet here is by writing down this poem, he is in fact taking you back to his past. He's going back, he's going down the memory lane to share with you the experiences of his childhood, where he's going back to the rural country where he grew up as a child, and he's sharing his experiences with you when he used to go, though he was admonished by his elders, his parents, not to go near the wells, but out of curiosity, which is a very inborn character in little children. So out of curiosity, he would visit these wells, and basically this well is a symbol. It's a symbol of his past, where he is. By going through his memories, he's basically he's taking you along with his memories, and how his memories, like Wordsworth, the memories of his childhood had a very strong impact on making him as a poet. Similarly, Shimasine also traces back the memories of his childhood, and he tells you that how these memories had a very strong impact on what he is now. And it's in this poem, he, as you have listened to the text of the poem, this poem is it has got 5 stanzas, and each stanza is of 4-lined, and as you can see, the words which have the alphabets which have been underlined in and highlighted in blue color, they are the heavy consonant sounds. You will notice that he uses a lot of heavy consonant sounds in his poems, and most of his poems are 4-line stanzas, that is quatrains. And he is also using Greek mythology. First, we have seen it in the form of the title, where the title itself is taking you to the Greek mythology, and in the final stanza he refers to Narcissus and Echo. I'll explain them in detail when they'll come in the stanza. So as a child, he says, they could not keep me from wells and old palms with buckets and windlasses. I loved the dark drop, the trapped sky, the smells of waterweed, fungus, and dank moss. So as a child, he is now back, he has gone back in the well of his memory. And he says that as a child, his parents could not keep him away from wells. Wells are, if you had a chance to see the wells, they are very dangerous for little children. Most of the time, the parents, they don't want their children to go near the wells. So he is here by reminiscing his childhood. He's taking you back to his to the farmhouse. That the name of the farmhouse was Mossbawn, where he grew up as a child. He is taking you back to that place, and he says that the wells, the old pumps with buckets and windlasses. He says that nobody could keep me away from them, and out of curiosity he would sneak into these places, and he would visit these places. And then he says that I loved the dark drop, the trapped sky, the smells of water weed, fungus, and dank moss. So the dark drop was, he's probably recalling a well which was very deep, and when he used to look down into the well, he could see the sky trapped in it. The water was so clear that it would reflect the sky up above, and then the smells, the different kind of smells that would come from the wells, the smells were of weeds which are there found in water, of fungus, or and of moss. So these are very familiar kind of smells which come from the wells. Then he, in the second stanza, he goes on to relate to you about a well which was in a brickyard with a rotted board top. And he is like, when the bucket used to be plummeted down in the well, the sound that that empty bucket made, he said that he would relish that sound, the rich crash when a bucket plummeted down at the end of a rope. This was a sound which he used to savor, which he used to relish. And this, he talks about this well, that it was so deep that he could not even see his reflection in it. So here, basically, the well is a symbol. It's a symbol of the deep recesses of your memory. Some of them you can access, some of them they remain in your memory. Some, they like the memories, they do not, you cannot retain them in your mind, and they simply they evade with the passage of time. So when he says that so deep you saw no reflection in it, he probably is talking about those experiences which have now disappeared from his mind. A shallow one under a dry stone ditch, fructified like any aquarium. When you dragged out long roots from the soft mulch, a white face hovered over the bottom. So he's talking about a shallow one, which was not very deep, and it was under a dry stone ditch, and it fructified like any aquarium. So he's comparing it to an aquarium, as an aquarium is full of little fish, weeds, and little creatures. Similarly, this one, which was not shallow, which was not deep, it was so shallow that he could see these little creatures, the weeds, the roots, and sometimes he would drag those long roots out from the soft mulch, and when he would draw these roots, he was able to see his own white face hovering over the bottom. So the reflection of his white face could be seen, and white hair is very significant. It it shows the fear that little child had, reluctantly, hesitantly, out of curiosity, when he would put his fingers into that shallow ditch. He would also be afraid of probably dragging out some living creature with his hands. So basically here it's very symbolic. These are, when you are tracking down, going down your memory, some of the experiences are very unpleasant. Some of the experiences are very fearful, and you don't want to dig them out from your memory. But somehow, when they flash back to your memory, they again bring back the same kind of fear. And here you can relate him to Wordsworth as well, as Wordsworth also he gives the credit to fear and beauty in making him a poet. So Seamus Heaney is also like Wordsworth. He is sharing with you both kinds of experience, exciting, thrilling adventures, and the fearful experiences of his life. Then he goes on to the fourth stanza and he says, others had echoes. They gave back your own call with a clean new music in it. Now, others had echoes, the empty wells, which when he would look down into them, and he would say something, they would that voice of his own would come back and come back as an echo. Again, it's referring to the memories. The memories, when you recall back your memories, they come back to you as echoes, and but with a clean new music in it. And this is very significant here, because the memories, they they have the power to enrich you. Your past experiences, they draw you more closer to maturity, because with your past experiences, and when you recall your past experiences, basically you are growing up, you are learning from your past experiences. So the clean new music in it is the process of growth, of maturity, and the way you are learning from your past experiences. And one was scarcer, for there out of ferns and tall foxgloves a rat slapped across my reflection. And again he says that one of the wells was so scary, was so fearful, that out of the ferns and tall foxgloves are, they are also again kind of weeds which grow up in wells. He says that sometimes, surprisingly, giving me a shock, a rat would pass through his reflection, and he would feel as if the rat had slapped his own face. And this was again a very fearful experience. So then in the final stanza, now the journey that he had started, the journey down the memory lane as a child, which he started from the first stanza, he took you with him along to his past. In the fifth stanza, the word now, it brings you back to your present, brings the poet back to his present, and he says now, to pry into roots, to finger slime, to pry into roots, to dig into root, to finger, to touch the slime. That is going back to the memories now, in my present, and to stare big-eyed Narcissus into some spring is beneath all adult dignity. So he says that now, when I trace my history, when I go back to my past, probably I would be criticized that, like a big-eyed narcissus, as a narcissus who was a who in Greek mythology who was a young handsome boy, and he got a chance to see his own reflection in water, and he saw a handsome boy there, and he fell in love with himself. So narcissus is a term which is used for a person who is narcissist, that is, who is in love with himself. So he says that probably people would consider, when I trace back my history, people would consider that I am a narcissist, and it is considered as beyond, beneath adult dignity, to go back and trace the childhood experiences, which probably now would now appear to be very petty little experiences. But he says that I rhyme to see myself, to set the darkness echoing. He says that I rhyme now in my present, when I am going back to my past. Basically, what I am doing is that I am writing poetry, and I want to see myself, to set the darkness echoing. The darkness, that is the darkness of the deep recesses of the human mind. He says that I want to bring back those memories and share with you those memories in the form of my poetry. So my personal helicon is my personal memories. And these personal memories of mine, they help me to, they inspire me. They are my muses, and they inspire me to write beautiful poetry. Thank you so much.